gaming. It used to be something fun. It was an escape from reality. Now, gaming has to mirror the horrible dystopian nightmare in which we all live, where Twitter slowly becomes reality.
I've seen the demand that creators, writers, and reviewers keep politics out of games. That is not possible. All media is political.
Goodbye.
Forspoken is a PS5 exclusive title that was originally shown off at the PlayStation Showcase about 8 months back.
Here, at the end of your arm. Oh, hello, yes.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm somewhere that's not what I would call Earth. I'm seeing freaking dragons, and oh yeah, I'm talking to a cop. Did I just do that?
We did.
I just moved with my freaking mind!
I don't care. Out you go.
It didn't go over very well, much like a wet fart packing a slippery surprise in your white spandex underpants. What also didn't help with the overall reception of Forspoken was the fact that it followed Eve Shift Up. Now that game looked far more polished, far more interesting, just overall was a better package, unless you worked at Digital Foundry.
The one thing, I know you were talking about the character from a bygone era. I do think the character model was actually like very distracting in not a good way, because like with the camera angles chosen.
Will you just look at these breasts?
It just felt like this game seems like a game that came out in like 002 in terms of its, like character design. It's like a bit old and not flattering, I don't think, for a modern audience. In comparison to something like Forspoken, which has, yes, it has a much more realistic looking character designs. It's not these hyper proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed, a bit more grounded in a way that I found much more appealing.
Hell, it's not even like they had praise for Forspoken. The biggest selling point was that it seemed grounded in reality more. Yeah, that's what I want. More reality in my fantasy. So I can never escape progressivism. The movement with no issue other than looking for issues. Woohoo! Yippee hooray! I can play a game with a boring chick from the Bronx, cause that gets my nuts hard. And then you go, why do you need your nuts hard? Because people keep kicking me in them. So the harder your nuts are, the less likely they are to be broken. See, the big issue that created a gigantic kerfuffle over nothing, which is kind of amazing, because Forspoken seems like a big nothing burger that somehow has drama surrounding it. The huge issue that Kotaku gleaned from the whole thing for too long didn't read was the fact that the motion capture and voice director said that the lead character had a hip-hop walk, or hip-hoppy walk. I guess this pissed some people off, including the journalists, but I'll do you one better. Hip-hoppity women are property. This game has bigger issues than some comment from a developer who obviously didn't live in the hood. And being put off by it is a sign of mental illness, in my personal opinion. I'd expect this type of response from a white person or an Asian game developer. I mean, let's keep it real here. They didn't grow up in the ghetto. They didn't wake up in the middle of the afternoon with 50 Cent's What Up Gangster blaring while gunshots went off. That's a lifestyle for a few people. What's that still? We can't use any 50 Cent music. What up, gangster? Let me read you a few tasty tidbits from this microaggression. Who finalized the story and script for the game? While all the high-profile names were all well and good, especially for the previous association, in crafting another AAA game. Last I checked, none of them were black. Question marks rapidly started to fire off in my head about the game's handling of Frey. My newfound fears weren't helped when Raymer and Stashwick described Freya's origin stories, which came off as a tired amalgamation of black stereotypes. Those stereotypes including her being very angry, her having fallen through the cracks of society, and being on the verge of prison. Well, to be fair to these writers, what the hell does the progressive left constantly say about black people all the time? Remember when the riots were going on? What did they say? Everybody was angry. That's why we're burning shit. And I'm like, that isn't a good excuse. I don't know how stealing shoes is gonna help a movement, but you do you, dog. But the money you get on the resale on StockX would probably make it worth it, wouldn't it? I should have stole some shoes. Fell through the cracks of society, on the verge of prison, systematic racism, everything out to get you. These people basically writing what the they're being told is the right thing to believe and think. Come on now, you can't even be mad at them for that. On the real, they're parroting what they heard they're supposed to say and believe by the system. On top of that, how are they gonna make this chick interesting? What was the other option? We just make her a barista at Starbucks? Before being teleported to Anthea, the cherry on top of my newfound dread was motion capture and voiceover director Tom Keegan describing Belinsky's mannerisms during her motion capture performance as having a very hip-hoppy walk. Holla!
Black people walk like that because we have style, we got flavor, we got rhythm. I mean,
wasn't the only journalist who find Belinsky's awkward remark and the lack of black writers shown in the preview was harrowing. Being taken to see some stupid game, you get treated well, red carpet treatment. The white program mother said she had a hip hop walk. God help us all. I don't care one bit. She walking like she got some flavor. That's what I would have said. It was me. You see how she walk? That girl got flavor. I would have been like, she's got dunks in the trunk. You remember that? She into them apple bottom jeans. They'd have had me up on like sexual harassment. I'd have been like Eugene Levy in that movie.
I'd like to dip you in cheese and spread you over a cracker.
Boy, you are some kind of freaky.
You got me straight tripping, boo.
Basically, they didn't ask some other questions I don't even care about. I ain't gonna lie to you. And of course, Square Enix gave them some sort of FAQ sheet because they were probably like, whoa, Tom, you said something that might have been insensitive. Because everybody's so sensitive today, you can't say nothing that's remotely controversial. You can't even say anything that ain't even controversial. It might hurt somebody's feelings because they're neurodivergent. Because that's what we are right now. They had this to say: we work closely with a number of consultants from BIPOC, what the hell is that? Backgrounds to help portray Freya's character and tell her story from her perspective. See, the problem with progressivism is that nothing is enough. This developer had to look for a team of black people to determine if the characters seemed authentic, like a set of shoes from StockX. And they still pissed off the Kotaku journalist, who now had a harrowing experience that she could chalk up on her resume. They're like, what have you gone through that was a very hard thing to do before you made it here to the Wall Street Journal? Well, I did talk about Forspoken, and it was very harrowing to realize that there weren't any black writers writing for black characters. I mean, does it really matter if there's a black writer for this character specifically? Does it? Because this game's gonna be forgotten in like a year. People are gonna memory hole it. There'll be another black character in some game and everybody gonna act like it's a first. This won't even exist in 2 more years. While I don't doubt Luminous Productions consulted black folks on how they went about creating Freya, being greeted by white writers and only hearing about consultation from a secondhand account didn't do them any favors for me, as a player who has been starving for black representation in games, both on and off screen, crafting their narratives. Didn't Deathloop come out like a week ago? Like, on the real, did Deathloop just not come out? Aren't the 2 lead characters black, or am I blind? Remember Spider-Man Miles Morales? How about that? Lord have mercy. See, I'm telling you, everybody forgets. Who are these people that for some reason need representation? And before you run off and start screaming, oh my God, he's a racist. I'm a POC, you smooth brain. A character should resonate with you, not based on what they look like, but by the character themselves, or the nature of the character's heart, considering they're not real people. Perfect example. Jinx from Arcane was a great character. Hell, almost everyone in Arcane was great. And none of them looked like me. Jinx is a woman. Nope, that's not good enough. I need representation with a character that looks exactly like me, sounds like me, and has my sexual preferences and kinks, or it doesn't count. That's journalism and gaming today, and that's why everything's so derisive. You got game companies so afraid to make a damn character, they gotta get a committee in to see if it's authentic enough. Is this character bougie enough for you, ma'am? One Twitter user had this to say: Forspoken is the first major Japanese developer to have a black lead character. Let's focus on the positives and support the step forward and not focus more on whether the writers are black or not. Having a black lead actress is a good step in my opinion. Well, I guess the black chick from Resident Evil 5 don't count since she was a co-lead, even though she is very integral to the story and the game entirely. This is the first, baby. These are the... Why does it feel like we're like acting like we're moving forward in progressivism when everything's pretty goddamn progressive? Here's another choice tweet. Forspoken, unlike most RPGs, appears to have a strong focus on women, both as heroes and villains. I guess this person's never played Dragon Age. They've had female leads in RPGs since what, Final Fantasy VI? 94? What about Final Fantasy X too? Final Fantasy 13? How about Final Fantasy Lightning Returns? We could keep going. Basically, Square Enix put out a trailer for this game that didn't go over very well with anyone who wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. Frankly, it goes into three camps. You're either A, a PlayStation fanboy, they call those ponies, and you're still pretending that even this early build of the game looks hot as hell, you can't wait to get it, the game looks fantastic. You're an Xbox fan who thinks everything Sony sucks ass. Or you're an average person who's looking at this and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm not really blown away by this. I know it's an early build, but let's face it, early builds of games in this day and age literally means it's most likely what you're going to get on release date, or a variation of it. It's a boring looking game with some sort of drama, oddly enough, which makes it kind of amazing. I'd rather talk about Battlefield 2042. That's how little I care about this.